Hello and welcome. This is a quick demo on how to locate new Galactic HII regions. I'm going to assume you already have the DS9 software, radio continuum data, that's the .fits extension files, the .reg file, the region file, and also the Excel spreadsheet. So let's load up DS9. I'll show you how this works. Alright, so let's load our data. Here we have CGPS MEV1. I'm going to start with that one. And here it is. You can scale things. DS9 gives you a lot of options for how to scale things. The percentages here are the most useful. This is going to show you 99.5% of all pixels, and 0.5% will not be shown at all. That's useful if those 0.5% are really high or really low. 90% is probably showing you too few pixels, whereas min-max shows you all the pixels, and that's probably, again, it's going to bias by the highest and lowest values. So we'll go back to 99.5%. You can also, with the right mouse button, click and stretch it. You can change the contrast. That can be helpful as well. And then finally, with the color up here, you can change the color of the image. I'm going to like BB, so I'll go with that. So what you're looking at here are all the sources of radio waves in a small patch of our galaxy. Most, but not all, of these little tiny points are external galaxies, and they emit radio waves. Specifically, their black holes emit radio waves. Most, but not all, of these extended sources, like this one here and that one up there, are within our galaxy. So we're a little bit more concerned with those for the most part. Alright, let's load our regions. These regions are going to show you the locations where we have potential new Galactic HII regions. Those HII regions, we really want to know how bright they are in radio so that we can maybe observe them with the GVT. So in this field we have just two. There's one here and one there. I'm going to zoom in. I'll click the zoom button and then the plus sign, and it'll allow me to zoom in. You can also do this with your middle mouse wheel. And then you can change this up here to drag this box around to find it, or again, middle mouse down click is going to recenter the image. So what we want to know is how bright is this source. The easiest way to figure that out is with this value parameter up here. With the value parameter, you can move your mouse around and it's going to show you the value underneath your mouse cursor. In this case, the peak value is about 16. Now that's sitting on top of a background that's just outside of the source, not outside of the circle in this case, just outside of the source. And that background value is maybe 5.5 or 6. We'll just call it 6. So this source, the difference between those two is what we're interested in, and for this source that is 10. Alright, let's go to our spreadsheet. And I've highlighted the two sources in the field already. So we'll go to our peak intensity column for source 173.168, which is the source we were just looking at, and I'm going to put in 10. The region name, we can call it whatever we want. I'm going to call it Blobby, and then my initials LDA. Let's go on to the other one. So back to the DS9 software. Our other source is somewhere around here. There it is. Alright, in this case we probably want to stretch it a little bit, so I'm going to use the right mouse button to stretch it just a little bit. And with the mouse again, we can see that that's the peak value of 5.8 approximately. And that's sitting on top of a background that's about, well, maybe 5.2. We'll call it 5.2. So the difference between those two is again 0.6. Let's go back to our spreadsheet. 0.6. We'll call this faint guy, and this LDA again. So everybody that does this, until I come up with a better method, is going to have three independent columns of their own for the peak intensity, the region name, and your initials. And hopefully together we'll get them all done. There's about 1,500 sources, so it'll take a little while. Just so I can show you a little bit more about what's going on, I'm going to go to our public website, which is astro.phys.wvu.edu/wise. I'm looking here at infrared data from the Glimpse 360 project. You can change which data sets are shown up here. And here's the source. This is the bright source we were looking at. This is our first source. If I change this to iGPS, we see that it looks the same. We'll go back to our pretty radio data. That's pretty cool. And if we scroll up, there's our other source. We can see it is very faint. We can zoom in. Look at that. What a neat little source that we might get to observe. We can change back to our original data set, and there it is. It's too faint to see on the scaling. Alright, that's it. Happy hunting.